send
Yeah, sure.
the link.
Mm-hmm. Could you send me the link too when you get a chance?
Yeah.
All right, appreciate it.
Hmm?
All right, just thanks.
All right.
Thank you. The link you sent is the stream from earlier. Oh, there's a new one. I found it. Okay, back on. All right, we're back.
Let's see. How many people are here so far? I can't check.
Looks like 3 people are watching.
3 people.
Thanks to
That's
my
good.
fans. Appreciate all of you. We got Sarnix in the chat, the other co-founder of. Oh, he's not a fan. Sarnix is the other co-founder. Sarnix, he just joined the chat. He's not a fan of me, and he's the other co-founder of Weekly Observer. So special shout out there.
Is that Moo or?
No, that's he Moo was after us. Sarnix and I co-founded it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit of history there.
Yep. I learn new things about EWE every day. I've been here for over 2 years now. Let's see. I can just tell my parents are gonna like call me down, or even worse, I'm not gonna hear them. They're gonna go bust through the door, take my shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Got blacklisted from EWE. Why? I thought you like. Why'd you get blacklisted? The fuck?
Shout out to Kiri. Definitely been my day one. Knight who says knee.
Oh, Zeus is here. Oh fuck, my thing's trapped. Okay.
All right.
That's why. But you can't get friggin' perma-banned from VWE just because of you asked something in OGC though, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't been involved in DWE for well over a year. Probably closer to 2 years now.
Yeah, closer. Yeah, close to like 2 years because you left shortly after I joined IGN.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck pinged me? Oh,
Yeah, shout out to Knight Who Says Knee. He's an administrator who's been saying he's going to quit for about 3 years and still hasn't.
you will never know true disappointment when one of your own fucking journalists just asked what the name of your own newspaper company is.
Wow.
This guy
Like some
literally said,
dedication.
yeah. This guy literally
Oh,
just said, what's Hikari Shinpo? He's literally one of the people in it.
it's not a good look.
It really isn't. Looks like we're gonna have to do some IGN stuff, start freaking purging people,
Yeah.
take a bunch of people out. Are you in stream?
You
It's look, that's your name. Are you in the
what?
stream? If so,
I'm my stream name is Uhley360, so I am in the
I know,
stream.
I'm talking about the dude that's somehow this guy somehow doesn't know his own freaking faction
Oh,
that he's in.
yeah.
I want to find him. Man, I swear there used to be like something where I could view how many people were here.
It's in the description. At least for me, it says
Just
four people watching.
4.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we have more in the chat, so that's a little confusing.
It might be because some people are watching from my Twitch.
Oh, that could be.
But I never released it on Twitch though. It was just on YouTube though. And we got a lot of people. Hey, Anthony. I got a question. Did they ever ship you the Ritzko bag? Have they done it yet?
Possible scam. That's not good.
What scam?
Guy said still in back order. Might have gotten scammed.
Oh, come on. They better ship you the fucking Ritzko bag, I swear. It will be a crime if they don't send that shit. True. We need Ritsuko bag.
All right. Are you about ready to start the interview?
Yeah, just about. Just gonna wait, like, probably like a minute or so, just to, like, see if everybody else is gonna show up, and then we'll start.
Yep.
Let's see, what time
We're up
is it?
to 6 people watching. Thank you to my 6 fans.
Okay, that looks good enough. It's 16:35, so we will now begin. So,
Right.
yeah, I guess to start off. So, all right. So, how did you first get involved with EWE?
So I don't remember exactly how I found it, but I know that I did play on it factionless for a couple of days before joining, and I immediately joined the Royal Marine Commandos. This was back in June of 2020. Yeah, and that's how I got involved for the most part. I didn't really do a whole lot. I was active. I went to events, and then eventually they were looking for a new officer to co-lead one of the units within RMC, and I was promoted to major then, and that's when I really started getting involved with the community.
Can you tell us any of your, I guess, most memorable moments of being in RMC?
Being an RMC, I'll say for one, my first most memorable moment was I was in a game with a couple other commandos, and we ran into the Sixth Rangers, which was a faction that used to exist and then stopped, then came back, and I think doesn't exist anymore. Uh, and they thought commandos meant commanders, and so started following our orders and just following us. Yeah, and I mean, thinking about it, like a lot of my good memories are from later on, like after there was a whole thing. I'd become the commandant of RMC for a little while before passing the torch on to uh, Kiri Valier, who is or was in the chat, um, and then uh, met a lot of the people that I know from EWE after that point as serving like advisory roles in the RMC.
Mhm.
So yeah, just got to say like a lot of memories from that, and yeah, shout out to Reese Wilkie. I set up an officer training school, and he and Moo, actually, who you might know as another former leader of the Weekly Observer, both went through the really rigorous thing that I had set up.
What can you tell us about your, like, advisory roles within factions? Because, I do remember you in IJAN for a while. I know you're in SNLF, but I think other than that, that's all I really remembered you being in.
Yeah, so the only faction for the longest time, I think over a year, I was involved in was Royal Marine Commandos, and then I can't remember who came to power. It might have been New Rebellion leader, um, who came to power in Allied Powers, and so I left the Allied Powers with a few other people like uh, Bad User in 544, former community manager, and there was a little bit of a mass resignation I didn't feel too bad about leaving the Allied Powers at that point because I had started the Weekly Observer and was doing that. And seeing that I was free, I got offered a few leadership positions in the uh, Japanese Navy, which I took a rear admiral role in the SNLF at that point. But I only did that for a few weeks.
Did anything notable happen while you were in there?
I think I was killed by some delinquent by the name of Speedy Pig 123, and
Why?
he's been spam pinging me every February ever since. So I guess that's that's a little notable.
How shameless. We should really do
Exactly.
something about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but really, there was not a lot of notable history with me and the IGN or the Axis powers in general. It was just that one event.
So, just a little bit earlier, you brought up, possibly, I believe, new Reb coming into power,
Yep.
sometime in 2021 or something like that, in AP. Do you remember exactly why you disliked him that much
Um.
to?
Yeah, it was initially more about how he came to power than his actual performance in his role, because he was what we called back then free ranked, essentially. He basically
Mhm.
became the Supreme Allied Commander within a week of him joining EWE, and it was because he knew Finn, or he had run this other group before that Finn knew about, uh, but it seemed like a departure from the normal procedure of choosing someone who had proved themselves to be experienced and qualified within the Allied powers for a role like that, and it kind of seemed to go around our back, especially the high command.
I see. Mm, did you notice anything, after he became Supreme Allied Commander, or did you just not really mind too much? Just kind of, you know, stayed on your own, I guess you could say.
Um, well, we actually did start noticing some things, especially at inspections. When he would come up to my unit, he would go to the Royal Marines and call us like soldiers. There were certain things in procedure that had changed because of him, because he wasn't familiar with the old procedures and conduct, I should say. And it there was an air of professionalism that seemed foreign in places that it hadn't existed before, just because he didn't know what it was like before, and he didn't have that experience that was valuable in continuing some of those customs.
Could you maybe give a few examples of what that would be?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, uh, during inspections, one of the things he did was calling the Royal Marines soldiers, instead of uh, instead of commandos, which might seem like a small thing to those not involved, but to people that were involved and kind of know that history, it was a bit more offensive. And just his conduct in servers, he had taken on all this power suddenly, and then he started purging and gaining power within EWE moderation as well. He was made an administrator basically a couple of weeks after he had joined, which caused a big stir up. And yeah, he would ban people for pretty small things that he disagreed with.
I see. So, after your kind of departure from factions,
Mm-hmm.
you and I believe Sarnix, his name is, you
Yes.
co-founded EWE's Weekly Observer together.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us some more about that?
Sure. So it was actually Sarnix's idea. Um, we had talked a little bit just because he was showing me some art that he did, and I showed him some art that I did, talking about factions. I think he was a paratrooper at the time. It might have been the 156th Paratroop Regiment. Uh, and it's one day, it was sometime in 2020, he just uh, sends me a message. Do you think the newspaper thing is a bad idea? Because he had mentioned it in a call, I think. Uh, and we kind of just started rolling from there, coming up with ideas. There wasn't a whole lot of background or precedent for that because Chinito, who I know from Royal Marine Commandos, was the only other person that had done a newspaper before, and so we were kind of building off of nothing. We didn't expect it to be anything official. At the time, there was no precedent for civilian factions in general, and so the Weekly Observer was really first of its kind in that regard. Uh, we made a Discord and a group on Roblox and started advertising it to people. And uh, I don't know how it happened, but by the time we got our first thing out, our first edition, we had become an official faction and actually gotten a channel in the EWE server to post it on.
Mm, so, so, shoot, hold on. Certified womp womp moment right here. So, after making Weekly Observer, you said, kind of, you started off from basically nothing, but, as you guys continued through it, you guys, not only started, basically probably like the first civilian faction out there, but you guys
Right.
also made one that was, heavily popular. I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I do remember, when they published articles, a lot of people would read them.
Yeah. I
So,
think at one point our server had over 200 members, and our group had a team of at least 15, including editors, reporters, and photographers, which we all got to work together pretty well.
so during, your time at the Weekly Observer, who is there in like any memorable individuals that you can like kind of remember, just any notable stories from it?
Um, See, that's difficult. It was a while ago. I remember Sarnix being helpful. I don't really remember a whole lot of individual reporters or editors that we had, so I have to apologize there. But uh, I do remember some important or significant stories that we posted, or just ones that were fun to work on. We had, well, I don't know who remembers, the Japanese actually made a space program at one point,
Oh
and
yeah.
we got invited to their launch to report on that. That was a fun experience. And then we would kind of go into games sometimes. I would go into War in the Pacific and paparazzi certain high ranking officials that were on. So, yeah, we had less people that I remember from it and more just memories that I have from it. Things that we did that were fun.
Mhm. Um, I'd like to just take a quick pause, just take a quick break. I'm gonna go run down and do something. So, I think right now would actually be a great time if anybody who's watching, if they have any questions, you'd like to ask, that would be great.
Of
So
course,
I'll
yeah.
be right back.
This is my show now. With any questions? Biggest regret in EWE. Oh, bye night. My biggest regret in EWE is might have been how invested I got the end of 2020 into early 2021. Because I got really invested in Royal Marines. I got invested in Allied Powers as a whole, and then I guess I didn't appreciate how fragile that was when there was change in administration and new Reb came to power, and it was hard to leave that because of how invested I was. All right, any other questions?
All
All
right.
right, I think we're good on questions. Oh,
Yeah.
do I love you? We'll talk later. Okay. So, yeah.
So looking back, this is also kind of, I guess, similar to regrets, but what do you think you would change if you could?
What would I change? I mean, I'll always say I wish I would have started doing Weekly Observer earlier, just because it was a fun way to kind of experience EWE from a different angle and get that different perspective. I'm happy with the experience I had with that. If I could change anything else, probably, not sticking with Allied Powers as long as I did. I kind of tried to go down with it as it went into a darker place under new administration, and I definitely could have left it earlier and saved myself a lot of stress. So I'll answer another question from the chat. Favorite non-official faction or group? Might be a little biased, but Weekly Observer. I mean, to be fair, there weren't a lot of non-official factions when I was in it. That's definitely a more recent thing. Weekly Observer was the first that came up, and then it became official. So maybe that doesn't count. I don't know. I was never really involved in any non-official factions. We had a council of the high command or faction leaders in the British part of the Allied Powers back in 2020 that had a group chat, and I guess that was never official, but that group chat kept going and is still active today, which is cool.
I apologize for that. To step away for a moment.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, my AirPods are low on battery, so they might die soon. So I don't know how long you expected this to go on, but if you have any final questions, I could take those.
No, I think that's actually pretty much it, really. I mean, I think we covered just about everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does
Okay.
anyone have any last things, or? Here, let's just wait a moment. Just wait a moment, because
Yeah, let the chat catch up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to Reese family and Manunism. I guess that was a favorite unofficial faction to Manunism. That was a party, I guess.
Was that Bad Unicorn's a little cult thing, or wait, it's
Uh,
something else? I forgot.
oh, I didn't even remember that. Yeah, that it was a different thing. But the Cult of Bad Username, that was fun. Just had it was a secret channel in the EWE server that doesn't exist anymore. But it was active for a while and then died when Bad Username and I resigned together.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty funny. I kind of saw some like the old messages.
Yeah,
a while back.
Right. I'm losing my mic now, so I want to say thanks for having me on. And
Of course.
Yeah, this was fun. Keep me updated with your newspaper. Thanks to everyone that watched.
Thank you, guys. That will pretty much be it. See ya.